It ain't matter how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going.
Do you think Sly would come on the podcast?
Welcome back to Talk Ville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast. Each week, Ryan, Tom, and I go back. We go way back. We watch every episode. I have watched every episode, mostly for the first time. And we come up with our own opinions, our own thoughts about how we feel about the show now. And with taking in, the idea that the show was filmed 20 some odd years ago, and we try to keep it classy here. Sometimes we don't go classy. Our socials are Talkville Podcast. It'd be nice if you joined, subscribed, wrote a review on Apple or whatever. It really truly helps the podcast. So if you're thinking it doesn't, it really does. If you want the show to pop up and get more popular, do it. And last but not least, Patreon, patreon.com/talkville if you want to join and, save the show, keep the show going. Couldn't do it without you. If you didn't get a chance to visit the hotline, it's 213-JET-CUTE. Leave your messages. Make sure they're short and somewhat entertaining. And also, when you watch the episode, usually we're going to cover a lot of stuff. So try to think outside the box if you can, because then we won't repeat ourselves, because that's easy to happen.
What I love about the questions is sometimes people notice things like the curious little things. They get missed. Those are my favorite ones.
Yeah, they do. The listeners, you guys are much more in-depth, much more insightful, much more aware than a lot of things that we cover. And I hope they're not so superficial, what we do, but it's just our thoughts.
Yeah, it probably is.
And we try to have fun, but you could get all our information on the handles, on our socials. If you go to @the Michael Rosenbaum on my Instagram link tree, there's cons that Tom and I are going to. We do events where we do evenings with us where we read scenes and stuff. You want to get in on that. And all that jazz and more. Talkville Podcast for all the merch. There's so much, and there's some new artwork coming in. There's so much fun on that. People are loving the merch, and I think you will too. talkvillepodcast.com. Without further ado, let's get into it. Season 2, episode 17. This one's called Legacy. Title Legacy, April 14th, 2004. Director Greg Beeman.
2 days after my 16th birthday.
Thank you for aging us.
Mm-hmm.
Writers, Jeff Lowe.
I was wondering about that.
Guest star, Timothy Paul Perez as Agent Tobin, Daniel Bacon, FBI Agent John Shaw.
Wait, is this a new thing? Ryan, how old were you when this episode aired?
Well, this one
Mr.
specifically.
Ryan, are we going to do this?
Well, we can now. This one was, April 14th, 2004. I was just about to take a very nervous driver's lesson before I eventually got my driver's test.
Did you pass?
Well, I did, but the lesson prior was so horrendous. Like my driving instructors called me a basket case and said, "You're probably not going to pass this thing."
Had you ever driven a car? Like, did your parents take you into a parking lot and make you drive around cones, or did you drive tractors or anything?
Did all those things. Yep.
And it didn't work.
Well, eventually, I only did it once. I did pass, but I was so nervous prior to it, my driving instructor.
I'm terrible with tasks, tasks. I remember I was in Indiana. My dad took me to take the written exam, and you could only miss 3, and I missed 6. And I just looked at the woman. And I go, she goes, just real quick, answer these questions. You put this down, pick another one. And I go, that one? She goes, yes. Next one. This one is not right. And I go, this one? She goes, one more time. And I go, this one? She passed me. She got me through it. She goes, okay, you passed. You're good.
Oh, man.
Well, we all thank you. As everybody who passed our tests, we thank that woman for helping you.
It doesn't matter how many tests I take or how easy the test is, or if I don't like being, I love trivia.
You don't like being questioned.
I don't like being tested. Gary Hudson as Frank Loader, Christopher Reeve as Dr. Virgil Swann. This was a big surprise to me. I didn't know he came back. So I was like, oh my gosh, he's back.
I didn't know that John had a scene with him.
I know. I had no idea.
That surprised me.
It was
Yeah,
so
we're gonna ask her about
good.
that.
Synopsis: Lex strikes a deal with feds to help take down his father, who is enlisting Dr. Swann to help race against a terminal ailment and uncover the secret of the Kawachi Caves. When are we going to be done with those caves? Clark learns that Jonathan has been receiving more messages from Jor-El and that Lana is giving up on the idea of them being together. The episode begins with Martha scolding her husband for doing dangerous work on top of their roof and not listening to Clark's help.
Oh, I don't like that word scold. I don't like that. That insinuates that she was in the wrong. She was absolutely correct.
Yeah, he just had a heart
in
attack.
bringing up that concern.
Yeah.
She wasn't scolding him. I'm just sorry. I didn't like scold. She's correct in that he's up there. I don't know how he got up there because I'd never been on the top of that barn in reality on that set. But did you notice when he put the thing in its placement, how rickety that was? I was like, well, that's a cue right there. That's bad.
But that's why I didn't like it. Everything Tom said.
Oh, right.
Why the hell is he up there? Martha's absolutely
I'm
correct.
just defending.
Yeah.
I have
Jonathan
to defend
responds.
Martha and Annette.
Jonathan responds in a very Jonathan Kent-like way and tells her to beat it. As he's hanging equipment, he receives high-pitched signal that causes him to lose balance and fall from the roof. That was dope. Clark speeds over in time, catches him before he hits the ground, and then grabs that thing at the top.
Bro, I rewatched that stunt sequence when he rolls off of it like 4 times. His stunt double was perfect. It looked like John.
Oh,
perfect.
Yeah. Dude, that was one of the best stunts ever on the show. It looked like John Schneider was actually falling. How often did he do his own stunts? I bet he did them when he thought he could, but like, you know, when you start to get in your 40s and 50s, let the stunt guys do their jobs.
I don't know John very well, but I feel like he would claim to do more stunts than actually ended up on camera.
Yeah, I fell off the roof. That was me.
That correct?
Yeah. I'm a stunt guy. Did you ever watch Dukes? I fall. Upset that nobody else has heard the noise, in a fit of anger, Jonathan tells his son, "Damn it, Kal-El, I can do it myself," which convinces Clark that Jor-El is somehow behind this. We resume where we left off with Lionel sitting on the couch staring down a pistol. He decides against offing himself when he gets a phone call and arranges for the choppers to be ready. And boy, that hair is something.
I'll say one thing. Again, I've said this before, I think when we season 1, John Schneider himself as an actor was very adamant about that Jonathan had his own life outside of Clark. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't just cater to what Clark was doing all the time. Let me just help you, son. Like, whatever you need. John had his own
agenda,
trajectory. And that's what you see here. He's walking away from Clark. He's got his own things. And that's why you see Clark being like, how do I navigate this? Because John Schneider is an actor. It's important that your character has its own life within the scene. Yeah. And I guess
I personally
I'm just saying, like, that's a good thing to learn. I learned that from John.
I personally think that Martha and Jonathan owe Kal-El. They owe Clark because their lives are probably the most mundane, you know, just boring lives, like living on a farm, doing farm stuff. And then this kid comes in and now they have to go. It's just an adventure. It's not always easy, but it's like they probably, it's like getting a puppy for an older dog. You know?
Well, you know, we get to that in this episode where Jonathan Kent's looking back on his life and the mistakes he made. And Clark says, like, taking me in. And John does a great way of saying, no, that's not what I'm talking about. You know, he enriched their lives.
Back in Smallville, Clark takes the spaceship key to the Kawachi Caves to confront his biological father. He pleads to take Jonathan's end of their deal, and the key begins blasting into the wall. Hand blasting. This is stopped prematurely when Lionel walks in. Lionel asks about Jonathan's health and then talks about the love of his son has for his father and how cherished it is because you only get one. Ironic based on what we learned about Lionel and his parents. Murderer. The next day, Lionel visits Lex to let him know that the octagonal hole in the caves is back, and Clark opens it back up. Lex mocks his father for being obsessed and possibly mentally ill. Mid-conversation, we see that Lex is bugged, and the whole conversation is being listened to by the feds.
Yeah, but the good thing is, see the flip between Lionel and Lex? In the last episode, Lex goes to Lionel and wants things. Now, literally, from a photographic camera point of view, Lionel's coming in to ask Lex for things. I thought that was a good camera thing that they did, and that's Beeman's genius.
Yeah, I like the juxtaposition of like Lex almost becoming Lionel, kind of like going, hey, he's like, it's like, oh, the mentally ill, it must run in the family. You should probably check
Yeah.
that out, Dad. On the Kent farm, Jonathan is talking to the spaceship key, coming to grips with the fact that he may be facing his own mortality soon. Clark goes to console his dad and tells him that Jor-El is not his real father. Good scene. Solid scene. Later, Lex heads to where the feds are hiding out to do some snitching. They are upset that he's hiding the truth to the caves and not sharing his suspicions of Clark Kent. And Lionel takes a trip to visit Dr. Swann. Lionel has been reading Swann's emails back and forth to Clark and wants to understand what is written on the walls of the Kawatche Caves. Swann is resistant to Lionel's charm and bribery and puts the pieces together that Lionel is dying and desperate to find what is in the caves as some sort of last-ditch cure.
So at the time, you have to remember when this aired, the email thing wasn't quite what it is now. And I think that the fact that not only does Swann understand without knowing that this is what Lionel's been looking at the emails, this is a big revelation that you can look at other people's emails at the time. You know what I mean? Like the whole hacking thing wasn't what it is now.
Right.
The security wasn't there. So I thought that was really cool. And I mean, Chris was just a genius, and to have the two of them together and the way Beeman filmed it, obviously, Chris can't move.
And his acting was so great with his eyes and looking down and he was so present.
And you see what Beeman did, he had Lionel moving back and forth to give movement. It was just, Beeman's a genius. It was
really good. Beeman's a genius.
And they did that thing where two powerful men talk at each other without looking at each other, like their backs are to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Lionel leaves, Swann tells him that he isn't prepared for what happens
when Game
he
of
put the key
Thrones
into the lock. Lionel tells him he's willing to take the risk. Then this piques Swann's interests. From here, Lionel takes a whole crew down into the caves to resume working on the octagonal hole. Clark shows up and confronts Lionel, who is adamant about that Clark's obsession with the caves is deeper than school-related. Clark flips it back on Lionel and tells him that he is obsessed by having his friends spy on him. And that night, the FBI raids the Kent's property by breaking and throwing all their belongings as part of a search warrant. I thought that was aggressive. Really aggressive. Later, Lana consoles Clark inside the town, who is upset that Jonathan took off in his truck and it hasn't come back yet. He apologized for unloading on her, and then they start kissing. She stops him and tells him it's not a good idea because they've tried this once before.
I just always enjoy when Lana stands up for herself.
Yeah.
I really like it.
She's like, what is
it's
this?
Good.
Am I going to do this again? I'm going to get myself hurt again? What am I doing? But we'll get into other things that are even darker and deeper and weird. Magically, Clark finds his father doing a very Lana-like thing by visiting a family gravesite during the middle of the night. Jonathan is reflecting on the issues between Clark and himself and not sure he can protect his son anymore. Clark says they still need him, and the two head back home.
I thought this was a brilliantly written scene, and maybe because I'm a father now, but that moment of like, I don't know how to protect you anymore. I mean, I just thought it was beautiful, and the Clark says, we still need you, Dad. Because here he is as a father saying, there's no use for me anymore. I mean, how more like vulnerable can you be than that moment as a father?
Yeah.
I know it's a little thing and I might be a little like whatever about it, but I get more out of this. I'm sure when I shot this scene, I wasn't thinking that way.
I wonder how much motivation this gave other parents who might have been watching with their kids at the time to sort of be more upfront with their kids, to be more honest. Obviously, I don't think my dad ever watched it, but my parents, I come from a very closed off family where it's just all secretive. It's all, they're always right. I'm always wrong. And I don't know what that would be like where a father would be so vulnerable. And it was,
I'll tell you where I was listening to your podcast and you had, what's his name from Less Than Zero? Not Robert Downey Jr., but the other one. Andrew McCarthy went on that hike with his son.
Yes.
And he talks about when he fell and all he wanted to do when his son reached to help him, everything in his blood was like, don't help me. And then he realized how good it is to allow your son to help you. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Those moments of vulnerability. It's beautiful.
Yeah. My dad has only had like a few moments of that when my sister passed away. That was He's confided in me a couple times, but he's never really been interested in me. It's always just help him out, but it's only happened a couple of times but seeing him vulnerable made me feel like, oh, he's human. And I don't get to see that a lot. Later that evening, Lana meets with Lex in his office. They talk by the fireplace. She admits that she is starting to lose faith that Clark can change even after kissing. Instead of playing wingman, Lex tells her that she needs to remember all their past experiences together and not just make decisions based on their last interaction.
Confusing to me.
It was confusing.
Like Lex recites that thing from the poet about, and I don't know. I don't know if I've come to grips with what that really means, but it's a good tool for the story.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Do you look forward to the holidays, folks? Or like most people, do you struggle with staying upbeat around the holidays? It's more common than you may think to not be quite so cheerful and bright. This time of year can be a lot, and it's natural to feel some sadness or anxiety about it. But adding something new and positive to your life can counteract some of those feelings. Therapy can be a bright spot amid all the stress and change, something to look forward to and make you feel grounded and give you the tools to manage everything going on. And it's super convenient with BetterHelp.
It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule.
Even during the holidays, just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge.
Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp.
Visit betterhelp.com/talkville today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/talkville.
It's BetterHelp, HELP.com/talkville. Talkville is brought to you by AG1. You know AG1. I know AG1. I hope you're using AG1. A lot of the patrons are now using AG1. I think it's because they're tired of taking vitamins every day and all these multivitamins, and they're realizing that AG1 truly helps. It helps me. It helps Tom. Ryan likes it. I just gave Ryan a bunch of it. It's just a quality project, and I've been taking it for quite a while. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that helps support your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. Since 2010, AG1 has been a leader in the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a smarter, better way to help elevate your baseline health. It's pretty fantastic. And Tom, why don't you tell folks what you do here? It's nothing. Every morning we do the same thing.
Yeah, I have it before coffee. I'm actually about to reorder, to be honest, because I'm running out because I've been taking it so much. I love it. I just feel like I have more energy. I feel like everything moves through the body better, if you know what I mean, throughout the day, and it gives me a consistency that I've come to enjoy.
Yeah, and it's easy, guys. You just take a glass of water, a nice cold glass of water, or room temperature, whatever you prefer, and you put some of the powder in and you stir it, and that's it. It tastes good. It's easy. You drink a glass and you're done. No more taking your vitamin Bs and your vitamin Ls and your all this stuff you have to take. It's just a pain in the arse, and my stomach gets upset when I take too many vitamins. But with this stuff,
yeah,
it's really great. Not only did I replace my multivitamin with AG1, but I love that every scoop also includes prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes for help with gut support, like Tom was saying, magnesium and B vitamins for energy support, adaptogens to balance my body's stress levels, vitamin C and zinc, and it just really helps. It's also great, Tom. The New Year's approaching, but why not get into a good habit? We have so many bad habits like, eating after dark, late night, you eat snacks and stuff. And, but if you wake up and the first thing you do is you take AG1, try it. Try it for like 3 weeks. See how you feel.
Give yourself a head start. Actually, now that we're talking about it, I kind of think I'm going to have one after this. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I got to fly out of town for the weekend tomorrow. And I know now that this will benefit me.
Yeah. I just put some ice cubes in a glass with some water. I like it nice and cold. And it's refreshing first thing in the morning. And I feel like, I'm doing my body good. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Tell them where to go to, Tom.
Go to drinkag1.com/talkville. That's drinkag1.com/talkville. Check it out.
Jonathan and Clark arrive home to a frantic Martha who tells them that the FBI raided the barn and they took the key. Jonathan says that's not true and whips it out of his pocket. And after Lana leaves, Lex is having another fireside conversation with some German businessmen. When Clark barges in to tell him about the FBI raid, Lex asks Clark what is really going on in the case because his father wouldn't push for no reason. Clark gets suspicious that there's something Lex isn't telling him. And then Bryce asks, Michael, was this your decision to do the German thing based on your favorite Rave Macbeth? Yeah, I think they had a different accent, a different dialect, a different language to speak. And I said, let me do German because I have a decent grasp on it. And
do you remember what you said?
I remember at one point I said, Ich bin müde, which means, all right, guys, I'm done with this meeting. I am tired. I'm tired. Ich bin müde. I said a few things that I knew and I added some of the things that they had me put in there, but did you buy it that I knew a little German?
No, it's just because I've heard you speak it so many times. I was like, was that your decision? Like, yeah, because I don't think that was.
It was. They asked me, do you speak any languages? And I said, no, but I know a little German.
Yeah.
Because that could make myself, say certain words and things like that.
But it gives, it's subtle, but it gives Lex like a lot of depth. Like, oh, there's a story behind all that too.
Yeah, he knows German. He knows. Why does he know how?
Why is he making business with Germans?
Yes. Ooh, I don't know. Lex leaves and goes to confront Detective Loader. Clark tails Lex and finds him talking with the agents, revealing a wire. Clark uses super hearing to learn that Lex is working as a rat. Once outside, Clark blows up on Lex, who tries telling him that they are only worried about going after Lionel. Not only that, but Lex tells him that Virgil Swann isn't as trustworthy as he thinks. Next day, Clark goes to confront Swann and yells at him for betraying his trust. Swann calmly tells him that he was wrong about thinking that Clark was ready to learn about his past. Clark tries asking about the spaceship's warning that he will conquer worlds. He goes on to talk about the danger of Jor-El. Swann tells him he needs to pump the brakes or he will risk exposing his secret to the world.
Do you realize how empty that room is? There's nothing in that room. And as an actor, you use your space. And when there's no space, you have to go into a different gear. And that's what I saw happening here. There's no chair. There's no bar to go get a drink. There's no distractions. And you're just in there together.
Watching this, I kept thinking, all right, how's Tom going to play this? Is he going to be a little nervous about Christopher Reeve? Or is it going to be, is he going to tiptoe? And you were so confident and so adamant and so in your character that whatever you did, it just was believable and you looked upset. And I really enjoyed this moment with you guys. I was like, Tom's fucking holding his ground here.
Well, it's a great example of being in a scene with an actor when you're both there together.
Yeah.
You're both in it together. There's nothing else. And there's such freedom in that to explore the emotion of what you're going through. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. You saying that, but not to sound whatever, I saw it too. There's focus there.
It was powerful, and it was motivated, and you made a choice and you stuck with it. And it wasn't like you were tiptoeing around trying to figure it out or read the lines a certain way, or you were in that moment. You were in that scene, and I felt that. So cool.
Thanks.
Swann reveals a screen with Kryptonian symbols from a message that originated on Earth saying, I am waiting. Swann believes the message was not meant for Clark. We then cut to a scene where Jonathan grabs a spaceship key and leaves the property. Jonathan takes the key out in a shotgun down to the Kawachi caves. He scares the Luthor crew out of the caves and begins to fight with Lionel, which is pretty dope. They start throwing blows, headbutts, destroying the equipment in the caves. Who would have thought Lionel could fight? Mid-fight, the key begins to light up, and suddenly both men begin to battle for it. The key pulls itself into a piece of machinery near the octagonal hole. Clark shows up and stops the fight between Lionel and Jonathan. At the same time, the Luthor crew shows back up. Everyone settles down, and Lionel discovers that the hole is now covered up, and he believes that the key is now in the wall.
I love when Jonathan turns to Clark and he asks where the key is, and Clark goes, I don't have it. The way that line's delivered nails it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many ways you could say that. I don't have it. I don't have it. Do you have it? You know what I mean? It all works. This is really great.
The next day, Clark is doing chores on the farm when Lana shows up to finish their previous conversation. Clark reaffirms his feelings for Lana.
Horrible hair. Worst hair I've ever seen on Clark.
I never noticed it. Did you notice it?
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. It's the worst. I must have just got a bad haircut. They pulled the hair down in the front. That's all I could think about this whole scene. Other than the fact that Kristen nailed this scene, I'm like,
I didn't notice that.
yeah, I think I got a haircut like mid episode.
Clark reaffirms his feelings for Lana and gets pissed off when she starts spewing advice she received from no other than Lex Luthor. Lana tells him that her focus on Clark is making her miss out on the opportunities in life. Jonathan catches up with his son and asks about his convo with Lana. Clark diverts the conversation, wanting to talk about the fight in the caves and what his father promised Jor-El. Clark wants to help Jonathan, won't let him. The episode ends with us seeing that Dr. Swann is in possession of the key. But how? Did Jonathan give him the key, or?
You know what? I thought I missed something. When Swann has the key, I was like, I had to go back. I'm like, did I miss a scene? Like, it just raises the level of which Swann is, like, is he a part of the kryptonite thing or Krypton thing? Like, is he?
Is he in cahoots with Jor-El?
Well, the key went into the wall and now Swann has it. So is Swann Jor-El? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't think that. I don't think Jor-El would be, who knows. But we kind of skimmed over the Lex Lana scene. And that was like in front of the fireplace, right? And it was this intimate conversation. And it was kind of ambiguous because what he was saying was he honestly, she was saying, it's all Clark. And he said something like, it's not about our last interactions. It's about our whole relationship. And was he throwing Clark under the bus? Did you feel that?
I felt like he was a little more. There's a little more energy toward Lana than normal.
But I don't think he's being creepy. I don't think he wants to sleep with Lana or anything like that. She's in high school.
No,
They're like, he loves Clark still.
I think he's seeing Lana's value in his objective a little bit more. That's what I see. Whatever that objective is.
Maybe if she could, I don't know. Do you think maybe if I can get her to trust me, and then I could find out more information about Clark? I don't know. Second time working with Christopher Reeve. You obviously enjoyed it. We don't have to get into that, but it's always a blessing. Heavy Schneider Glover episode. I thought they both did a great job. I laughed at times when Jonathan was on top of Lionel and they were trying to get to the thing, and I could just imagine them joking around and Lionel saying, "Take it easy, Jonathan," or John Glover saying it to John Schneider, goofing around and them having a good time doing it, and also just committing when the camera rolls, they are in character. But Glover was always one to have fun. Even Schneider, they would laugh, and then you'd say action and things would happen. But that was a fun scene. All in all, this episode, we'll get into that. Interesting things of note. This was Christopher Reeve's final acting role before his death.
But
in Lex's German, since he says first, "We must reduce cost," and then, "Gentlemen, I'm late. It's late. I'm tired. We can speak tomorrow." These are French in the German version of the episode. These lines are French in the German version of the episode.
Oh, interesting. Well, in the German dub, like.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
in the German version, they put somebody to speak French.
If you're watching in German, Lex speaks French to those guys.
So they did what we did, is they wanted you to sound more exotic.
Well, the guy who probably played Lex in German, who dubbed all my dialogue, probably didn't.
Well, they just needed another language for him.
Didn't know how to speak German.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly.
He could have done it in English.
Yeah, he could have done it in English. Pete Ross and Chloe Sullivan do not appear in this episode. I think they get paid because it's all episodes, but I don't know what their deal was.
No, I know you don't get paid every episode. You get paid certain episodes that you appear in.
Nope. My deal was I get paid for every episode produced, whether I'm in it or not.
But even when you left the show?
No, not when I left the show, because I wasn't on the show anymore, but my contract had ended. Jonathan Kent's statement, "Duking it out, cemetery scene with Clark," is most likely one of the allusions to the Dukes of Hazzard. The outside shots of the building where Lionel and later Clark meet with Dr. Swann is the Dakota Building in New York City, infamous building where John Lennon was killed in December 1980. Do you know who killed Do you know who killed John Lennon? What was his name? He read that book too.
He's got 3 names, I'm sure.
Mark. His name was Mark.
Do we have to remember the name of the guy who shot a guy in cold blood?
Can you look it up and then we can go back and make it
was
look
Mark
like Michael
something. I want to know. It's in my head. Mark something.
John Lennon. John Lennon death. Murder of John Lennon from.
I feel like he's got
Mark
3 names.
David Chapman.
Mark David Chapman. See, I said Mark David, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Assassins always have 3 names.
Okay, now it's time for the hotline.
Talk Ville.
This is patron privileges. If you're a patron, you get to also ask questions, and it's one of the perks. And patreon.com/talkville. And here is Jen N. Jen with an N.
Hey guys, Jen from Seattle here. I just watched the episode Legacy, and I was wondering, 20 years later, having watched it myself, I see everything from a different perspective. Looking at Lionel and Jonathan and how they're dealing with their illness and all that, and wondering, did you guys look at it differently when you watched it again this time? And if so, how? And also, welcome to my Walkville Talkville. Thanks, guys.
She's hiking through the woods in her Talkville sweatshirt. Thanks, Jen. Tom?
For me, looking at it now, I see the gravity of each scene. I mean, this is a very tight episode. I mean, it's the story, the way it's filmed, the way it's edited, it's very tight. There's no wasted moment in this episode. It's a really, really good, well-executed episode on many levels. I don't think I probably knew that at the time. I was probably just trying to get through the day in most cases. But this is an extremely well-done episode.
And again, more adult. It felt like there were adults doing things, and that's more interesting to me. Even when I was younger, I felt like that was more interesting. I just felt like, get out of the love triangle. Get out of the stupid stuff. Just stay with the story. These are such complicated characters, and you have so much to work with. Stay here. And, when it doesn't, I get upset. And when it does, I get so happy. So it's kind of a constant, high and low. Here's Leanne.
Hey guys, it's Leanne, your patron from Sacramento. So how much of this episode's title had to do with Christopher Reeve passing along the Clark Kent / Superman legacy to you, Tom? Thanks, guys. Bye.
Good question. I don't know. I told the story before when I first met Chris when we worked together on a previous episode. He said, "I'm glad that they chose you to be the next Superman." And I said, "Well, they didn't."
And he said they should.
He said they should. So I had that going for me when you talk about confidence, perhaps. But I think the title has more to do with the legacy of, this character that we're trying to portray in this series. But obviously, Chris's legacy is, people say Superman, that's who I think of. So,
yeah, and I think, I'm thinking about that. The title of the episode was Legacy.
It was a lot about father-son relationships.
Yeah, it
specifically.
was.
I know it's throughout the entire show, but this one really honed in on it, and it was also about, the whether Clark's real father and like who he, it was all about that.
Yeah,
and how Jonathan kind of rejected it, but also accepted it, and how Clark wasn't really sure which one he wanted to accept yet.
Right. Look at the big brain on bread over here. Ryan, Taya together.
This is kind of a Cat Stevens episode, wasn't it?
Here we go. This is Johnny. What do you got for us, Bubba?
Hey guys, this is John from Indiana calling about Season 3, Episode
Hoosiers.
17, Legacy. Question for all you guys. In that one scene in the second half of the episode where it's just Lex and Lana talking, I was just wondering what you guys thought about this, and if you think Lex is maybe getting a little too flirty, maybe? Or is he still kind of in that friendship area where he isn't crossing any lines? Curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, if you're asking about that and you're not unsure, then I did the perfect job of ambiguity. Because you could totally play into that with, so many looks and things like that.
The definition of ambiguous. Open to more than one interpretation, having a double meaning.
There you go. That's exactly right. So I don't think he's being creepy, in my opinion. I think he's just an older guy who's got some information, and these are my thoughts, and these are great people who I have quoted, and they have an insight into relationships, and take with it what you will.
Hey guys, this is Nicole from Plymouth, Massachusetts. Did any of you guys notice when Clark is in the caves and he's screaming for Jor-El, his voice cracked when he says, Jor-El, I'm the one you want? Tom was curious if you remember what happened with this and why that edit got left in, but definitely was a little bit of comedic relief from my perspective. So
yeah, you know what? I heard it too.
It
was a little thing where your voice cracks, but I liked it because it was in the moment.
I think it was definitely in the moment. I think that you have to understand who your character is talking to, and you have to sometimes give up authority or take authority, or at least try to do one of the two. And I imagine in that moment, I was, it's scary trying to reach out to this entity which you don't know. You're terrified, and none of that stuff's in the script. It's all how you want to deliver the line, more or less, with the director's input. So I would imagine Clark's scared.
Hey guys, it's Jen T from Brunswick, Maine. We know that this was the last episode that featured Virgil Swann, played by the incredible Christopher Reeve, as he passed away 6 months after this episode aired. Can you talk about your experience with him during the second shoot? And did you and John Glover travel together to New York like you did prior to shoot the scenes? Thanks. Bye.
I'm sorry. I just don't recall. Good question. I don't recall. Watching the episode, I was so surprised to see that John and Chris were talking that I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me in a dream after talking about this, but we'll see.
All right.
Did you travel with John Glover? She asked.
I don't recall. So John lives in L.A. and New York.
So he
wasn't based in Vancouver. So most likely he traveled on his own.
Hey, Michael and Tom. This is John from Yorktown, New York. Michael, in the scene when Clark comes into the mansion, you're speaking German. I listened to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, so I've heard you speak German before. Do you know actually how to speak the language, or is it more just kind of like you just memorize the lines? Thanks.
I don't know how to really speak it. I mean, I can say things. I know how to say. Can
you answer this question in German?
I know how to say guten
something
Morgen,
appropriate.
Good morning, guten Tag, good afternoon, guten Nacht.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I am tired. Where I was staying, I lived on Prinz-Regentenstraße. Straße is street, und Regentenstraße. Friedensangle is freedom angle. I know this is my Nase, is my nose. My Maul is my mouth. Augen is my eyes. Head is Kopf. Kopfschmerzens, headache. I know certain things like that.
This is riveting.
I'm sorry. I'll stop now. But I don't really know how to speak it. No, I don't know how to speak it. Amerigo.
Hey, my name is Americo Garcia from Edinburgh, Texas, and I have a comment for the episode Legacy of Season 3. Dr. Virgil Swann, played by Christopher Reeve, he does such a great job acting there. You really see his range, and it's so dynamic and interesting. You can really tell, you can see that the Juilliard training come through. It was great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, just a tremendous actor. I think he was roommates with Robin Williams. I think they were roommates at Juilliard. Is that true?
I think one of the things that I take away from his performance is you see him listening and you see him responding not to what someone said, but listening to what they said and then responding in his own way. And I think that's, whether that's Juilliard, whether that's time in the saddle on set, I think it's a very important thing. Michael, you've talked about that before with John, with working with John Glover, about, are you listening to me? Those sort of things. You have to be able to take your time when you hear someone say something, listen to what they say, and then respond. You have to.
It's the key.
That's what I saw him doing.
It's the key to everything. It's honestly listening and then responding. You don't respond before you've heard what someone's saying. I mean, sometimes you do. You cut them off because they're boring.
Well, most of the time we do in life, but on set.
In life, we interrupt people, but no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
This is Dan.
Hey guys, this is Dan from Johnsburg, Illinois, calling about Season 3, Episode 17, Legacy. So at the end of the episode, Dr. Swann is looking at the octagonal disc, kind of, I don't know if it's menacingly or curiously. What do you guys interpret his final stare at the disc being? Because we never truly got a resolution to it. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Bye.
Thanks, man. I think ambiguous. I didn't know exactly what it was. I thought it was just good enough where you just, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? And I didn't know.
I would also imagine with the way that scripts come out and the timing, I'll go out on a limb and guess that Chris didn't know. There's no way that they told him what the next time. No, because it's script by script. You're lucky to see the next script halfway through the episode you're already filming.
Yeah, he had no idea.
I'm sure he left it open to interpretation, and I mean it's a wonderful moment. It's probably the last time we see him on camera ever, and he nailed it. Because I even watch it being like, "What is going on?"
Do you know if he watched the episodes that he was in?
I don't know.
Never
I'll have to
asked
ask
him?
his son.
I wonder if he did. I wonder if he actually watched them, and because I think he'd be proud.
I think because of what he said to me the first time I met him, he must have referenced the show prior.
Maybe.
Like he didn't just say what he said because I was standing in front of him in those 2 scenes we shot.
I just meant the scenes he was in. Do you think he ever watched those?
I don't know.
I don't know. Peter, international folks. Michael, do you wish there would have been some story interweaving Lex with Dr. Swann so you could have worked with Christopher Reeve? Of course. Oh my gosh, I thought about it. I was so upset that Lex didn't have a scene. Like they could have just said, he said, you're Dr. Swann. I've noticed this stuff. You're Lex Luthor. You're Clark's friend. So why are you asking about him if you're his friend?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Dr. Swann, it's more to that. Why is there more than that? Why can't he just be, there could have been something where it's like, I know your father. He came, you have a tradition.
Yeah, like at a foundation meeting, like you showed up at his foundation, a charity event or something.
And he just kind of like says, be careful, Lex. Almost like Ryan did, like, be careful of Lex. Like, be careful, All right. Thank you for coming on Talkville. And I just want to know what your time was like, because we just watched a scene with you and Christopher Reeve. So what was it like working with Christopher Reeve for you?
See, I'd worked with Christopher Reeve before his accident at Williamstown
Theater, yeah.
Yeah. And then when we worked on Smallville, which we did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said this to his agent. I said, he's better now after that accident than he was before.
What's funny is when we were watching it, his performance, the way he thought, his listening, his everything, it just was really incredible to watch you guys both go at it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you felt. You told his agent that.
And his agent said, yes, that's true. He's a much better actor now.
Isn't that something?
After that accident that paralyzed him. Yeah.
Wow. Well, are you excited? Did he remember you?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And how long ago before that was Williamstown? 20 years? 30 years?
I have no idea.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long, long time ago.
Do you remember at all shooting the scenes in, I won't say an episode because you won't remember Asylum. I don't even remember Asylum, but like episodes where Lex is in a straitjacket. Do you remember those scenes where you're looking at me through the window?
Oh, I think so. Yes, you in your straitjacket.
Yeah, those were really into. Do you remember any moments of those days at all, just in general, of those scenes where you're torturing your own son? And what motivated you, or what?
I remember weeping after I'd given you shock treatment.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I don't know where it came from, but I just remember weeping. And I didn't plan it or anything.
And they kept it?
I think so.
Yeah, because it just shows you teared up. It shows you really emotional.
I didn't watch the show, so I don't know if they kept it or not.
What's baffling to me is you didn't watch almost any episodes of Smallville, and your performance, I think we should do something where we put a collage of scenes with Lex and Lionel and just moments for you that you could just watch sequentially instead of whole shows, but you could just sit there and go, there was an episode we just watched where you're fighting for the key, and you and John Schneider are fighting in the caves.
Oh, is that when I kill him?
No.
When he dies?
Mm-mm.
We were having this fight because he was so he was intimidating to me because he was, man.
Right.
With that series that he did.
Yeah.
And they're the kind of guys that in high school that used to, throw sand in my face and stuff.
But he was obviously a nice guy. He wasn't that guy.
Yeah, no, because he would help me with the scenes and the fighting. I mean, he wasn't saying, you're not doing it right. He just very beautifully helped me fight better. But I think the irony that I found about that was if this one fight we were in and he died, and then I start courting his wife. That's when I started going after Annette.
Yes, that's right. Well, this is great. Thank you so much. We love you. Tom loves you. Ryan loves you. You're awesome. Rosenbaum rating system. We'll start it with Tom.
Rating. Well, 2.5. This was a solid episode.
2.5 roses.
It was a very good
Thomas
episode.
Welling. Ryan, now I don't want you to think of what he said now. Now you're thinking, maybe I should give it more. What was your gut before Tom spoke?
It was 1.5.
Ryan's like German, French. What is it?
He wants a 1.5 on that. He gives it a 1.5. I like that. I think a rose and a half is pretty solid. I think it was a rose and a half to 2. I'm going to give it 2 roses. I thought it was pretty damn good. I'm going to give it 2 roses. Death and save count. 0 died. 0 people died in this episode. Maybe that's why it was so good. 2 saved. Clark saves Jonathan from falling. Lionel gets saved by a phone call. Through 17 episodes in season 3, 27 dead, 27 saved. Series, 86 dead, 97 saved. It is now time for Ryan's favorite scene.
Alrighty. All right, scene 1 is Virgil and Lionel and their whole standoff.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Scene 2, Jonathan and Clark in the graveyard. And then scene 3, the Lionel and Jonathan fight in the cave.
Damn, these are hard.
Yeah.
Should I go first?
You go. Yeah, you go first. I've already circled mine. That's mine right there. No matter what you say, I already circled mine.
What was the third one again? The fight?
The fight in the cave.
You're probably going to say that, but I'm going to say Virgil and Lionel. What do you say, Tom?
I'm going to say graveyard.
Graveyard.
I don't even remember
the graveyard. Just like...
Screw you.
I mean, it was...
We just talked about it.
It made me
Legacy.
think of my dad, and I was like, I'm going to call my dad after this scene is over. I didn't, and I should have, and I wanted to.
Call him now.
Call him now.
Call him now.
Michael calls Al. You call your dad right now on air. Let's see it.
Well, it's definitely easier to talk about an episode that was so engaging, so fun to watch. You had Christopher Reeve. You had some great scenes with Glover and Schneider. You had great scenes with, a good scene with me and Lana, with me and Lionel, Clark and Lex. It's
just felt really tight.
Yeah.
Like every scene mattered.
It mattered.
Everything
mattered. But Ryan gave it only 1.5, so that's just the way it's going.
Look who's shitting on the show now.
Mm-hmm. Ryan has begun to shat on the show. All right, that's it for the episode. Stick around next week for a fun time, no lie, as we talk about season 3, episode 17, called Truth.
18.
It is 18. It would be 18. Take the discussion online. Let us know your thoughts on the episode on our socials at Talkville Podcast. Show support for the podcast by joining Patreon at patreon.com/Talkville. Really helps us so we can continue doing this series for you and for us. If you want more information like merch from the show, talkvillepodcast.com. Tom and I are on the cameos. If you go to my Instagram link tree, there's tons of links for all the shows we're going to and all that great stuff. So I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And we love you. And we can't thank you enough. And Ryan, why don't you say it?
Always. No.
Remember, folks.
Always hold on to Smallville.
Let's do take 2. Can you do it with a little more sincerity and subtlety?
Remember, folks.
Kind of like just, hey.
As if you meant it.
We're giving Ryan an acting thing here.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville.
Ooh, that was sincere.
Can we do one? Can we do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more, Tom.
Do it as if people are arguing about not wanting to remember Smallville. You're interrupting them. Remember, remember.
Remember.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville.
Nice. Last one. This is it. This is the end. I want you to be a little bit like you just don't care at all. Like you just have to say it. You don't even care. You're not even listening to what you're saying.
Oh, this will be easy.
Throw away.
Remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville.
All right.
Well,
I would have done something like,
he knows how to take a note.
remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville. All right, now it's time for the big shout outs. The big shout outs. Our top tier patrons, patreon.com/talkville. Could not do it without you guys. You know that. You're the reason we're here, and we love you. And Tom, take us off. Take us off.
I would like to start us off with Nikki G, Leanne P, Raj C. Thank you for your long message. Santiago M, Lita Lisa, Thomas Elite Blower, Sophie M, Betsy D, Abhi P, Ray H, Karen Apple M, Danielle B, 99 more, Leilani, and Brett G. Always hold on to Smallville. Esteban G, DJ Kento in the house. Garrett W, Kimberly L, Tom N, Jason W, Osama, what up? A, Lana rhymes with banana. W, Nancy D, Brian G, Sarah W, Amanda R, Teddy127, Michael P, Theo M, Ryan R, Jordan M, Hillary B, Randy B, of course you are, Craig G, Christy R, Karen P, Jorel, hi Dad, Heather and Craig, great meeting you in DC, Nico P, I made Talkville say butts, Brian H, Eric K, Kristen B, Craig C, Nanine W, Stephanie K, Darth Achilles, Finky, Tamara H, Stephen F, damn, who's that? Jeanette E, Deadvid, General Zod, Big D, Doug R.
Carlos C. Gosh, I thought you were going to read all of them, for God's sakes, which is fine.
I was thinking about it.
You're doing it and just waved to the camera. Tommy Z. Boston 68, Ken the Limerick Guy, Corey L., Mr. Home Arcade. What are you playing, Pac-Man? Little Cubert. Amanda K., Jesse C., Claire M., D. Brown, Karen Era M., L. Down, Supremo, Dan, good seeing you when you were in L.A., Leslie V., McBurts, Ginger Moose, Christoph S., Michelle M., Drew, Brittany S., Marisol P., Michael Kane doesn't blink. Why don't you say Michael Kane doesn't blink, Ryan? You like doing that? Get your
Michael Kane.
Oh, his mic's not on. Sebastian F., Sourpuss Cranky Pants, Matthew and Lincoln B., The Coopers, Marion Louise L., CGO, Cindy C., Nikki L., Big Bash Bosch's Lemon Pledge. They brought me Lemon Pledge at the con in Orlando. Thank you. Shannon.
Did you use it?
Yeah, my butt.
Can you take that on the plane?
I got to tell you what happened to me while I was peeing a few minutes ago. Brian S., Tina E., Matt R., Jen T., Cassie B., Felicia R., Dan M., DS, The RN, JS, Rachel D., Ginger Primus, and Nate D. When you're rich, you aren't crazy, you're eccentric. Paul W., Jonas 1, Samantha S., Derek Starkville, Spicy Brown says, sounds like my pants, Carrie Ann, the Alexander Castle, Daryl E., Kyle F., Charlene A., and Spicy Chicken.
Oh, yeah. Love me some spicy chicken.
We thank you guys dearly. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope you have a great week. Good day.